and welcome to Show Up, Stand Out, Online Visibility Expert Series for Entrepreneurs. My name is Juliet Stapleton. I'm a visibility strategist, and my guest today is a marketing consultant for service experts looking to simplify their marketing with easy-to-follow plans that help them generate leads and attract ideal clients. I welcome Sheri Otto. Sheri!
Hello. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited to be here. I've been watching her for the last few weeks and her stuff is amazing. And I said I had to get connected to this lady because she has got the goods. And so I'm so happy to come into her group and her page and just share with her audience today on tips that you can use in your business to use content to help you generate leads and attract your ideal clients, like she said. But here's the kicker. I want to do this in a way that's easy and that flows and that does not overwhelm us, because who wants to be overwhelmed and exhausted and just have your mind everywhere? We want to just simplify your strategy so that you can actually enjoy what you're doing and have fun with it. So that's what we're going to talk about today. I'm so happy.
Sheri just did my job. Like, I usually have to struggle and try and read the introduction and remember it because, guys, I don't do scripts. So, for me, it's very difficult to remember all that. But I love it because I think that for our audience, for us, this is the most important thing. Guys, if you can see us and hear us well, will you let us know? Because I'm looking at the stream and it's a little bit strange. So, will you check it out, Sheri, as well? No, I won't be able to.
I see that it's going okay.
All right,
I just
perfect.
shared it to my page.
Perfect.
Yeah, we're good to go. We're on.
Great
we're rolling.
stuff. Guys, this is what's happening. Oh yeah, we're back on. We're fine. This is what's happening when you're live. So there's a big tip I'm going to give you before we go into the content creation, that if your content is live video, just be prepared. Some things can happen, but don't freak out because it's live. Yeah. Everybody understands. You understand, right? So we are going to talk about creating content. Now, how important this is, creating and scheduling to attract new leads. Because, at the end of the day, most of the time that you're spending on, say, Facebook, I'm a Facebook sort of bunny, you need to focus on creation. A lot of people are complaining and getting overwhelmed from spending a lot of time on this network, but it is their fault because they get stuck in the news feed and then, they're not using their time strategically. But when you do, it can take a relatively small amount of time and it's very fulfilling because you're creating something, so it's a nice kind of, you can get into flow. And of course, the biggest overwhelm is from planning and scheduling, and that's where Sheri comes in, and she has all these great tips. So tell me what, in your opinion, are the things that people stumble on, or how you help this, and take it away.
Totally. So definitely, just like you said, we have trouble because we get stuck in the weeds. We're distracted by the news feeds. But what we need to do, and what people kind of struggle with, is number one, just trying to find topics. What do I create content around? What do I post up about? It's like, what is it? Like, you have your industry, you know what you're good at, but it's like, how do you create topics? Like, how do you choose your topics? And so that's one problem that people have. And another problem that you already touched upon is like, how do you have a system that you can implement into your business so that you're doing it consistently and you're not overwhelmed and it's not taking hours on to end? And so I want to give you those strategies on how to quickly come up with topics that will work for you. And then also that scheduling piece, right? That making sure that it's something that you can schedule out in advance, that it doesn't take a lot of time, and that that will work for you and help you to generate leads because you're being strategic about your content. And I'll give you a couple of tips on how to just make sure you're leaving links and calls to actions back to your landing page and your website so that you can get leads and you can nurture those leads and get your ideal clients, and then even, take your clients that you have now and lead them to higher level offers in your business as well. So let's start with the topics part, shall we, Juliet?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
I'm so enjoying this because this is exactly what you need. And you know what? I think that people get so overwhelmed with even imagining, the whole process. So the more you say, and you can get a link, and I know even working with some people, that the more you tell them about the opportunities, the more their faces go blank because it just feels like, oh my God, this is so big. but take it at a small pieces, small things at a time. And Sheri is just about to let us know how to create. Let's start with content. Yes.
Okay, let's break it down. Let's start with the topics. So you're sitting at your computer. You're like, okay, I schedule an hour of my time to create content for the week. So maybe it's a Sunday, and you're going to say, I'm going to schedule some time to schedule out my content. And you're trying to figure out the topics that you should choose. Here are a couple of tips for you guys today. The idea behind these tips are you want to create topics around things that are already performing well in the marketplace. So in theory, you're just piggybacking off of what's already doing well and already getting a lot of engagement and a lot of shares and likes. Well, you ask, well, how do you find those topics that are getting all this engagement and all those shares and likes? Well, there's a couple of tools that you can use, and one I'm sure you've heard of before, Pinterest. Did you know that Pinterest is a search engine and not a social media platform? And you can actually use it to do research on what topics are popping and what topics are getting a lot of engagement and attention. All you do is go to Pinterest.com and then you just type in the keywords that your industry is about. So here's an example. Let's say you are an organization coach and you teach people how to organize their home, how to structure their office, and you want to write a blog post and a social media post about something that deals with what you do. What you would do, you can just go to Pinterest, type in organizational tips, and then underneath that search bar, they will give you suggested topics. And those suggested topics are the ones that most people are searching on because those come up for you. So for instance, I actually did this right before the call. I literally typed in organizational tips in Pinterest, and the types of things that came up were the terms kitchen, bathroom, and garage. So that gives you an indicator that a lot of people are searching about organizing your kitchen, organizing maybe some drawers in your kitchen, your utensils drawer, And so maybe that can give you an indicator of having a checklist or creating content around how to organize your pantry. I have a walk-in pantry and it's just never organized in my pantry. And I've got 2 kids, so there's like goldfish and snacks just everywhere. And I would love to have some content around how to organize the levels of my pantry because I've lived in this house for a year now and it's just never been organized. So those are some pieces of content. Those are ways that you can come up with ideas on how to create better content because you already know that people are searching on that stuff.
That's right. And you know what's interesting as well is most of the time they're very obvious things. And we as experts in our fields, we think they're too simple. We think we need to come up with something more fancy. But when you do that on Pinterest, and actually you can do the same thing on Google in a way, it's just Pinterest is so much more visual and they'll give you ideas as well. But it's so funny how the things that you mentioned, let's say for organizational coach, those are the hot spots. Of course, they're always messy. Your garage, your kitchen, your bathroom.
Oh my goodness, yeah. I mean, and there's a couple other sites too. I don't want to bombard you with a ton, but if you've ever heard of a site called BuzzSumo, BuzzSumo, BuzzSumo.com is basically a site that you can go to and essentially do the same exact thing that I just shared with you about Pinterest. Type in your industry keyword, and what that does is actually shows you the articles and the blog posts that has the most shares on social media. Now with that piece of data, you can begin to create similar topics, and all you have to do is put your own spin to that. So if you know that a particular title of an article got 500 shares in one day on Facebook or Pinterest or Twitter, then you know that a lot of people are really interested and really enthusiastic about that topic. And so what you can come in, if it says if there's a list as far as the title of your blog post, if it gives 10 ways to do such and such, then you can maybe do 20 ways to do it and then put your spin to it, and then there's your content for the week. And the next step, once you have that topic, is to repurpose. So Julia, a lot of what I teach is not reinventing the wheel, just maximizing the content you're creating and making sure that you take one piece of content and spread it out, stretch it out so it can be seen on various platforms. So you can take your blog post that you created from the topics that you researched, And then you can turn that into 3 different social media posts that you schedule on that Sunday when you have time to do it, or that Saturday night, or whatever time you have. You have your research time. And then what you do is you create your blog post, or you create your, main piece of content. It might be a video. And then what you can do is take sort of the statistics out of that, or the main quotes or the sound bites out of that, and you can repurpose that to be 3 different social media posts throughout the week. So now you have your social covered, you've got your blog post for your website covered, and then perhaps you can do a Facebook Live on the same exact topic because it's already fresh in your mind because you created a blog. And what you're doing is just you're taking your one piece of content and you're repurposing it for several platforms so that you're not scrambling, you're not, trying to come up with a million topics in a week. And it just is more easy and allows you to flow in your business better, allows you to do the important things like talk to cool people like Juliet here, because I know content's already scheduled for me. I've got social media posts already going out for tomorrow and all that stuff because I did the work on the front end. And I'm basically sharing the same types of topics in the same week, but just on various platforms. So that's really exciting.
So what I'm picking up, there's so many goodies here, guys, maybe even more than you think. Number 1, very important, put off some time for research. Sherry just said research time. So set yourself 2 hours, whatever you need, 1 hour, 2 hours, sit down, no distractions, put away your phone, kids, the husband should take the kids or whatever, the other way around, and just do it. And no excuses. So research time is so important. That's when you write, and that's when you decide how to repurpose. And I am such a big repurposing fan and advocate, and I sometimes comment on somebody's post. It could be some group. And I keep writing. Then I'm like, okay, that's a post.
Yes.
Paste it on my personal profile. If that went well, paste it on my business page. Put it as a note. Put it as an email. Put it as a blog. Submit it to a couple of magazines.
You're speaking my language. I love it. Oh my goodness.
I've been published actually today. I got another proof. I've been published in a print magazine, which originally was a comment on somebody's in a group. I don't even remember what.
Are you serious? Yes. It was a comment originally.
And I just repurposed it and I sent it off to submit as an article, and it's been published.
It's published.
And that's
okay. So there's your example.
Yeah, and it's good to have. What I use is I use a Trello board where I keep all the long posts that I posted on social media that got a lot of engagement. I put them there. If I put a selfie with it, I'll store it all there so I can repurpose later. Or most of the time I do it the same week. I just spread it everywhere, And it takes less time. First of all, it gives you more confidence because you have that stuff written. And you read it back and you're like, yes, this is awesome. And acknowledge this, acknowledge your greatness. You did a good job. You love it. Everybody should love it. If they don't love it, they're not your people, right?
I love it.
And then
yes. You bring up such a good point. I love when you said that you had your Trello board and that you're identifying the posts that got the most engagement. So that is such a key, and I wasn't even going to go into that, but that's a perfect example of how you're going to be able to capitalize on what's working for you guys. Like, make sure that we're tracking our efforts because we want to do more of what's working and less of what's not working. So if you have a long form post about a particular topic and it's getting a lot of engagement and you see that this post is living on more than normal on Facebook and people are just commenting it, then look at that, save that. If you don't have Trello, put it in a Google Doc and save it. If you like if you sometimes you're scrolling and you see people's ads and it catches your eye and you like that, go ahead and save that stuff because you can come back to that. I love that. Another cool way to look at if you have a Facebook group, another cool way to look at which post gets more engagement, it's to simply go on the left-hand side column and type and click on the button that says Group Insights. And then from Group Insights, you can see which post got the most engagement based on the number of likes, shares, and comments. And then when you have that data for you, you can then think about ways to do similar type posts. So tracking, like you kind of brought up, is a really good way to make sure that you're increasing your engagement as time goes on.
That's right,
Sure.
and it's actually easier. You know, my type of brain, the word tracking gives me a panic attack, so I don't really like somebody says analyze something, stats. My brain doesn't work that way, but actually, tracking like this is not hard. It's not hard. It's something that is very, very helpful. It's not about the numbers. It's really just about, okay, that works. Do more of that. Save that. Star it. You know, it's good to do that. Okay, well, I'm interrupting you, but tell us more. So there was a couple of more takeaways that I wanted to bring out, but I thought that the research time and then repurposing was an absolute brilliant one.
Definitely repurpose. Yes, I created a colleague and I created a PDF that's fillable that gets you in the mindset of repurposing. So being able to take something that you're going to commit to doing. And Facebook Live is big right now because that's the thing that's going to get the most exposure in the news feed based on the new algorithms and they changed this in January of this year. So if you do commit to a Facebook Live, then you can say, okay, you can type in Facebook Live and then where else you're going to use that. You can download that to YouTube, and there's other ways you can do that as well. So repurposing is a key pointer. And we have a resource for you to help you repurpose your content. We'll talk more about that at the end. But then the other thing is, you know, just being aware of what is doing well for you, so that you can do more of those same efforts and track what's really working for you. Maybe use your group insights, or if you just see someone, if one of your posts got like 20 comments and they usually only get 5 comments, then save that. Go ahead and save that or take a mental note of that, and so you can do more of that. Now, I definitely want to get into scheduling more, especially when it comes to if you have programs and products you want to launch, because I know scheduling is also something that we struggle with when it comes to just really being able to be consistent. Because Juliet, when you're consistent, you build trust.
Yeah, that's right.
And when you're constantly showing up for people, even if you don't see them on your Facebook Live, or even if they are not commenting, they still see you and they still begin to trust you. And people invest in those that they know, like, and trust. So when you're a business owner, when you're a solopreneur, entrepreneur, consultant, coach, you do have to have a level of consistency in your marketing, because that's going to make people trust you and be ready to purchase and, invest in your offer. With that, you might need a schedule. Yeah.
Can I just add here, it's very important to remember, guys, know your audience, because depending on the generation of your audience, they engage differently. So if your audience are younger people, they will engage more because they grew up and this is a norm for them to engage on social media. If your audience is 45 plus, they are looking, they're watching, but they don't, some of them never engage, but they're the ones who are buying or hiring your services. They will be doing that. They're not necessarily, I've had so many clients that I have never interacted until they made a purchase of a big amount. So, this is something that to keep in mind. Know your audience, who they are.
Totally. Absolutely. Yeah. Because when you know your audience, you are speaking to them in your content, right? So you're addressing their pain points. And that's the whole point. That is the whole idea behind content marketing. Of course, it is to connect and build a bond and to share your story, but you have to be solving their problem. And if you don't really know what their problems are or their challenges, then you're not quite sure how to structure and frame your content. So know your audience, get to know them, ask questions, poll them. What are you working on? What can I support you with? What are some of your pain points? Where do you feel stuck? Pause. Where do you feel stuck, right? So you can simply just ask them inside of Messenger if you use Messenger, or just be looking out to where their pain points are, because then your content comes in to be the solution to their problem. And when you're the solution, they come and trust you and are ready to invest in you.
Brilliant. I have a complimentary tip. I noticed, and I've heard some marketers mentioning this as well, that if 2-3 years ago, if we asked somebody, what are you struggling in your business? People were all, ready to tell you and comment. Now they're kind of a bit insensitive to those questions. So as a post, it's not really going to be such an engagement post. But I have a trick for you. If you have a group, it works for those who have a group. Make sure you ask your questions, because people are likely to answer in what are they struggling with? What's holding them back? They will answer that question in the group. Make sure you save those answers. Yes, you cannot save those answers inside Facebook. It doesn't do that for you, but you can copy and paste, or you can use a tool. I use GroupFunnel tools that just takes everything. Yes, and I have a spreadsheet. So say I want to do, all my pain points are there, so I don't even have to think about it. But this is something that is important. Then you can see exactly what to create content on. If you ever stuck, all you have to do is open that spreadsheet.
I know, I have the spreadsheet too. And I like to kind of look at I kind of group people with the similar challenges. And then I might tag them and say, hey, I actually have a video that pertains to that struggle that you're going through. If you want to watch, and I'll tag them on it. And they're like, oh my gosh, thanks for sharing that with me, because I really was going through that, because you kind of already know. So insights are important, really understanding who they are. And even when they become a client, continue to ask those questions while they're your client, because you begin to understand the types of people who are drawn into you, and you can be able to continue to create more content around that. So yeah, that's absolutely such good information, and I love this back and forth dialogue that we're having right now.
It's brilliant.
Really fun.
If we're here, I believe that sometimes I love the conversation here. My show before I started Show Up Stand Out, if you're following me for a year or so, last year I had it Easy Chat. It was called Easy Chat because it's all about just giving value, and we're here. Obviously, we're here to introduce Sheri, but I think that some things are also important to plug in sometimes, for us to go and use maximize, all this information. So Sheri, I know you brought a gift today as well. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Okay, awesome. So I have what I call the digital marketing assistant, right? So it's the digital assistant. It helps you with content marketing. The reason why I call it assistant, because it really tells you the times that you should be posting on social media. It allows you to do your research and put those research topics in a space for you. It's a fillable interactive PDF, and it allows you to go ahead and work with how you're going to plan out your content, repurpose your content, and then it gives you check marks where you can actually put where you're going to be posting. So if you're posting on Facebook, then you can check mark Facebook. If you're posting on YouTube, then you can check mark. And you have a visual to see what your content marketing plan looks like for the week. And that's so key. I know most of us are visual creatures, and we need to be able to digitally have it out or write it out on a piece of paper and schedule what we're going to be doing. And then as a bonus, getting that resource, what I know is really important is having a monthly calendar, and actually have like a visual. I don't know if you can see it here, but it basically is a spreadsheet for each month of the year. So there's a monthly calendar that you can use to plan out your content. Now this is key if you're doing a promotion or a launch. It gives you a line item where you can say, this is the offer that I have to promote. And then with that, you want to be thinking about, if your promotion week is at the end of the month, then it's going to be important for you to plan content around that particular offer in the first, second, and third weeks of the month, so that when they're ready, so that when that fourth week comes, they're already nurtured, they're already prepared to receive what you have as a promotion during your promotion week. So being able to nurture people based on what you're going to be selling at the end of the week is a very cool strategy to help you with getting your launch off successfully and being able to promote your products and services. So that's actually a bonus resource, and I want to give you all the tools that you need to be able to have a plan in place for your business. But like we said in the beginning, take some time out to strategize, use the tools that we have so that you can actually see it and put it in, and then be held accountable for what you're doing. And then you can always go back and change it and see how you can do it differently, or just add on as the weeks go by. So much fun to be able to know you have a plan, so your mind is not going in circles, or you're not going crazy. You're just like following the plan that you set out for yourself.
And that's, we have a digital assistant link, which is, that's BuzzSumo. So our digital assistant link is bit.ly /the assistant, and it's in the description of this video. So go ahead, download it, and you will be in Sheri's world. So she will be able to give you so many more goodies. Definitely stick with her. Sheri, thank you so much for coming on the show. So many great tips, so much value. Guys, if you're watching us, let us know what was the most valuable tip that you got out of this interview today. And also, if you have any questions, also pop them in the comments and we'll get back, tag myself or Sheri. I also left you a couple of links there for group funnels and for one of the cool tools that I found recently that allows you to instantly repurpose your lives without downloading them, and the tool does it for you. So check it out. It's called Repurpose. Finally enough, check that one out as well. It's just while we're talking about it, things were popping into my head. What can we do? So yes, guys, thank you so much for watching. Sheri, thank you so much for being my lovely guest, and I hope that we will all stay in touch. And I will see you in another episode of Show Up, Stand Out. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.